A lot of permaculturists, we hate grass, but it's really the sod grass, monoculture, ornamental lawns that we really hate, at least if you understand it. Grassland ecosystems are fantastic ecosystems for insect diversity, for quality of soil. Like if you have an untouched grassland ecosystem and you go in there and dig the soil up, it's black, it's rich, it's fantastic because it's a polyculture. Okay, pretty good example of the difference between monoculture and polyculture, even in grass lawns. So when we first bought this house, the previous owners basically just had a couple trees, some ornamental gardens, and just sod grass. And when we installed the pond, the rock was brought in from the side here, and they drove across the lawn and put it all on the front lawn. And if you look at some of my spring videos from 2020, you can see the front lawn looked like Mars. It looked like a lunar landscape. Because of that, I reseeded the lawn. And when I reseeded it, I did it the permaculture way. I did a polyculture. So we planted grass seed, but we also put in clover. We put in some low creeping ground covers as well, just to get a diverse mix into the lawn. But the clover is really the key aspect. And if you look now, you can see very clearly the difference between a polyculture lawn with clover in it and a monoculture grass sod lawn and how those look. Consider sowing clover into your lawn. It actually legit makes it look better. It stands up better to foot traffic, and it is food for the bees as well. So there's really no reason to have a monoculture sod grass lawn. Even if you're going to have an open field, an open space for kids to play, even if you're going to have a house in a square lot with nothing but house, shingle, driveway, and grass, put clover into it. Look at the difference. And even just comparing to an actual, fertilizer. My neighbor is a big time, lawn guy, cuts his lawn constantly and fertilizes it constantly, waters it constantly. Even his lawn with all the fertilizer, he was out doing fertilizer this weekend. You can see it's got dead grassy patches as well, dead patches as well. Got a little bit of green from the fertilizer, but the difference between that and this, is very evident. This is no chemicals, no herbicides, no fertilizers, nothing, just nature's fertilizer. Nitrogen fixing clover. So here you see monoculture grass lawn. We've got some green grass starting to come up, and I can show updates later on and in the season. And I also, I will actually shred leaves into this, so I actually do the right thing for a monoculture lawn, which is shred leaves into the lawn and get nutrients fed back in there. But that's a monoculture grass lawn. Here we have a polyculture lawn with clover in it. You can even see the grass itself is doing better. This is literally 2 feet over. Hey, Ari, 2 feet over from what I just filmed. I filmed there, maybe not 2 feet, 8 feet. 8 feet over is this grass polyculture lawn with clover in it. And even the grass, look how much better the grass is doing. And don't rake your leaves up, just mow them. There's some large leaves in here, and I'll mow these as the season goes, and a lot more of this grass will wake up. And the clover was actually just from last year, so the clover is going to thicken up as well. This is just like a fledgling lawn starting. So just another example as well. So we oversowed clover into this lawn last year. You can already see it's doing quite well. And for comparison, even with fertilizers, this is what the backyard of the neighbors looks like. right? And that is with fertilizer and with babying it. And we just had a really, really dry season last year. Looking for the pond. And a monoculture grass lawn gets absolutely destroyed. You know, that lawn over there was lush and green and perfect until the watering drought hit. And even with constant watering, it was really rough, watering and fertilizing. But you know, a little bit of clover, some crushed up, shredded up leaves as organic matter to store and hold water. And we even crushed up biochar and spread biochar into the lawn, because why not? And huge difference. So our lawn survived the drought last year, no problem, because it's a polyculture. So we're in the backyard, and like here's just an example. And you can't really tell until you get up close that there's actually clover in this lawn. It just looks like any other lawn. It just looks like any other lawn, but there's clover down in there, and it makes all the difference in the world. It's not actually grass. A grass polyculture is actually a fantastic little ecosystem, and it does have worms, it has insects, it has microbiology. It's food for above ground insects and birds and bees. So, you know, it's actually a decent ecosystem. Even having some around your trees, if the soil ecology will allow for grasses in your trees, that's okay. What's not ideal for trees is if the soil ecology is so bacterial dominated that the grasses really take over really, really heavily. Then that's not a problem of grass. That's more of a problem of the soil ecology. And you fix that just by continuously dropping carbon down on the ground. Slowly fungus will move in, decompose it, transition the soil to more of a fungal based soil that the trees like and that the grasses kind of don't. And then the trees will also start shading the soils, and you'll get shade tolerant understory layers in your food forest. And you know, your food forest will just evolve over time. And it's important that we let it evolve over time. We don't try to freeze it anywhere. We do kind of baby it at the beginning to get it established, because we're moving from a grass ecosystem to a forest ecosystem when we're planting out a fruit tree guild. So we do have to help it transition, but once it's transitioning, and once it's especially transitioned, it's there, then we should really try to remove the human. And our job as a designer, as an owner of a food forest, is actually to make ourselves obsolete and to remove ourselves eventually from our food forest, at least in terms of a caretaker and a steward. We do pruning and harvesting, but we leave some for nature as well, always, because we want to develop an ecosystem, and we want to slowly make ourselves obsolete, and we want to hand the reins over to nature. That is a really important part of a food forest garden. So I counted all 10 fish. All 10 fish are alive. Or sorry, all 9 fish. We don't know what happened to the 10th one. I don't think he survived. Something got him last year. But we do have 9 fish in there, and they all overwintered. So that's really nice. So the aerator setup that we had, with the aerator in that corner, it actually worked fantastic. We got the waterfalls going. I was dipping in the pond a little bit, just as like a polar plunge type thing. So we've got some towels drying out. So it's really nice. It's kind of fun to, you know, get in there and shock your body a little bit. I don't know, I think it's good for you. Just remember, if you're in permaculture forums or anything like that and you see all this grass hate, just remember, you know, grass isn't some devil, just the same way that cows aren't some devil that's destroying the planet, right? Everything in balance, everything in its own context. You know, like cramming 1,000 cows on an acre, that's not good. Or 100 cows on an acre, that's not good. Running entire systems of land use like corn and soy monocultures to feed them, that's not good. You know, putting their manure in giant piles where they decompose anaerobically into methane, that's not good. It's not the cow that's the problem, it's the human system, it's the feedlot. Same thing for grass. It's not grasslands that are the problem. It's monoculture ornamental neighborhoods with nothing in them except roads and shingles and bricks and one plant like grass, and that's it. You know, houses, grass, street, and that's all you got. So, you know, put a polyculture into your lawn, and there's nothing wrong with a grass lawn. And clover is a perfect one because the actual blade of the clover is fat, it's wide, so it prevents a lot of sun getting down to the soil level. The shading of the soil also stops the weed seeds from germinating, and it retains moisture in the soil. And they're nitrogen fixers, so they're actually getting nitrogen out of the air and bringing it in to offset the heavy feeding, nitrogen feeding grasses. And the nice wide leaf actually is really good to resist foot traffic. So if you have kids playing on your grass lawn, it's actually, that's why they put clover into soccer fields, football fields. So it's a great companion for a grass lawn. Consider sowing clover into your lawn for the bees and for just a straight up nicer lawn. And I just want to be clear, I don't put any effort into maintaining this lawn at all. Like, I don't water it. We barely cut it. Trish is laughing at me. So when I'm saying that the clover lawn looks better than this lawn, I don't baby any of this stuff. I spend my time with the fruit trees and the gardens. This lawn gets zero attention from me. I sowed some clover and grass seed into this after it turned into Mars last year. But other than that, that's it. A week or about a month of watering while it was getting established, and that's it. Water off, you get no more water. I got more important things in my life than to worry about what some patch of grass looks like. But the clover really helps, and you can look, it's like a before and after picture in real life. You can see the divide right down the middle. It's pretty crazy. And this part here, we did actually sow a little bit of clover into it. There's actually, you can probably see a little bit of clover coming up. So there is some clover getting established, and it will get better over time just because of that. But still baby clover in a patch of monoculture sodgrass lawn, whereas this is clover and grass seed starting at the same time. And you can see the clover was allowed to kind of help restore balance fairly quick.